that mean it's recording pending? It might take a minute.
There it is.
Okay. All right, so the agenda for the QAB meeting was posted on our website with instructions to submit public comment. We did not receive any public comment about this meeting. So as I mentioned in the last meeting, we received 3 low volume road applications. I sent out a lot of documents. I did my best to summarize the applications and give everyone as much detail as possible. So the first, I'll start reviewing just the summary that I provided of the applications. So the total grant request far exceeds our available balance. We have $88,385.75 available and $153,000 or $153,663 in grant requests. So we received an application from Nether Providence Township. I did not conduct a site visit with them prior to them submitting an application. So after they submit, I had a couple of discussions with them about the program and potential projects, and they got this in at the last minute. So I did a site visit with them after they submitted their application, and they were able to rework some of their project elements and bring their request down to $38,900. So they are looking to do improvements along Forest Street. And there is no immediate stream adjacent to the road, but there are storm sewers that drain into an unnamed tributary to Ridley Creek. Or sorry, it's an unnamed tributary to Vernon Run, which is a tributary to Ridley Creek. So they're proposing to do, they're proposing to install a bioswale. You know what, let me open up the PowerPoint that I put together yesterday.
I did get it. If it doesn't.
Oh, good. Okay. Let me see. I should be able to share it. It might take a second to load. Can you see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna go off of the way it's set up now.
You can just click the button and show
Is that this button?
Oh, the number. Just want to go to the next one. Just hit number 2.
Oh. Okay. Wait for that to load. It's trying. Okay. So this is the current condition of the road. You can see it's cracking and it's hard to see with all the leaves here. But it is eroding along the road and especially bad up here where there's ponding. We did run into several residents while we were at this site and they spoke they all had common feelings about the flooding and extreme runoff and icing during the winter. So there are safety issues along here. So what Nether Providence is proposing is a bioswale here to capture the water that ends up ponding here, and then a rain garden at the corner, which you'll see in the next picture a little closer up. And then on this side, since there's parking, a bioswale wouldn't be the best fit. So they're proposing an infiltration swale with perforated piping and stone on top of that. So that'll help with drainage issues. And they're also proposing to reprofile the road to create positive drainage to either side.
Which is not included in their cost.
It is included.
We're going to pay for paving.
Well, we're going to talk about. So this is where the rain garden would go, and in their sketch plan, they also have a small rain garden on this side. to capture that runoff. And here is their sketch plan. Okay. So in their budget, they do have road profiling, resurfacing, manhole adjustment, and then the infiltration swale and the rain garden and bioswale. So their request for road profiling is $3,650, and their request for resurfacing is $8,000. So this is Nether Providence Township's proposal. Do either of you have any questions about it or concerns about what they're requesting?
And the rain garden discharges to where?
Well, the rain garden, oh, I'm sorry, let me pull up the pictures. So they would connect the rain garden to the storm drains, which I believe are here and on either side of Robinson Street here.
Okay. And our policy doesn't prevent the paving. How did we finally word that?
So our policy, which before I go off my memory here, so our policy, like I'm pretty sure it says that we don't want to strictly pay for repaving. However, like if it's going to have a positive benefit on the road or the environment, we'll consider it.
So the paving, the only paving they're going to do here is that they're going to make sure the drainage drains in the right direction.
Correct, yep.
I don't have a problem with that.
Paving, let me just read this. Grant funds cannot be used to pave unpaved road or replace pavement on low volume roads. Funding will not be granted for solely repaving roads. Paving costs may only be covered where required due to implementation of additional stormwater VNPs to address the resource concern.
That seems a bit, okay. Want to go through them all, or how are we going to do it?
Yeah, we can go through them all, and then I figure we can have discussions after each one like this.
Okay,
And then after we go through them all, we can decide which ones we'd like to fund and if we need to cut back on any of them. Okay. Beth, any comments before we go to the next one?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Next project is Yaden Borough. So they are a repeat applicant from fall 20, what year is it? I guess it might have been spring 2020 or fall 2019. But they completed, they were the first ones to complete their project and they did a great job. This one is very similar to their first project. It's a little larger of an area. So they're also proposing to repave and reprofile the road to create that positive drainage. As you can see, they have water that sits here. And as it sits, especially in the winter, it causes that cracking and erosion. And I know during heavier storms, so this Manor Road here is a hill, it's downhill towards Parkview Boulevard. And I know that this homeowner gets a lot of water going through their yard up here because it's bypassing these storm drains. So they're proposing to repave and reprofile, but also to replace these city inlets with grates. So there's going to be 2 of these city inlets that they're replacing, and then a total of 4 storm drains, including these, where they will be putting water quality filters in. So very similar to their first project that they did. I think it was like Maple Avenue. Eden.
Yeah.
And then here, so this is just at the same intersection, just looking at a different view. This is the other limit of their repaving. This is the other storm sewer that they'd be replacing. And they have a sinkhole here that's caused by a deteriorating storm sewer pipe that they are also proposing to replace. So they would have to, dig up the old pipe and replace it with a new one. And then part of their funding request is to cover that up and repave it. So let me just look at their budget and see what they're asking for, and I can pull up their sketch plan while I do that. Their sketch plan is a little more detailed than another Providence.
Yeah.
Is that really small? Can you see that, Beth?
No, I can see it.
Okay. So they are requesting inlets. Those are the graded inlets. Okay, they're different sizes, ranging of, sorry, there's two different inlets. The one is they're requesting is $2,800, and that's a smaller one. And then they're requesting another one that's larger for $6,250. The storm sewer pipe is, I guess, there would be 20 feet of that for a total of $2,800. And then they'd be replacing the curbing, the concrete sidewalk blocks, the storm inlet filters would be about $4,000. Then the asphalt and binder, that would be about $4,263. And then on top of that is their equipment, labor, and 10% for engineering. So their total grant request is $59,763. And Yaden also indicated that they would accept a lower grant amount and cover the difference from their funds. And this, these storm drains, I believe, drain right into Cobb's Creek. So Cobb's Creek would be adjacent to Parkview Boulevard, but there's properties in between Parkview and the creek, so the water is not running off right from the road. Any questions about Yaden?
They didn't show, when they showed the flooding problem on the road, they didn't show caused downstream erosion on that person's property, or just flooding?
So my understanding is that I do not have a picture of that. But what happens is the water rushes down here and goes over the curb here. There might be a better picture here. But it washed, oh, maybe not. So it would be this house up here. Or, no, I'm sorry, it would be this one.
Between the two.
Yeah, yeah. So it rushes over here, and I think, I'm not totally sure what's on, like, what their backyard looks like. We didn't go onto their property, but they, according to the borough and the engineer, they're experiencing some erosion in their backyard from that water rushing over.
Okay, but no volume control, it's just water quality inlets is the environmental benefit, right?
Correct. Yep. And fixing the road, I think there was, it wasn't this picture, but at one of the inlets, there was a substantial amount of sediment sitting around it, running off from the road. Like along here, this is all washing away here and this part too. Any other questions or comments, or should we move on?
You can move on.
Next, we have Delaware County Parks and Recreation. Loads. Okay, so Delaware County Parks and Recreation is applying for a grant to fix a water quality basin that was built incorrectly or when it was first constructed. The road is Paper Mill Road. It goes back into Smedley Park, and the road loops around the water quality basin. What happened with the basin is there was a pipe that we believe was crushed or buried somehow. So it's not draining properly. There's also, what is it, a cross drain across the road that is not profiled correctly, correct?
No, they put a trench drain on the road that was supposed to serve as the emergency spillway. However, they failed to open up the one end of the culvert, so the water can't get into it unless it floods out of the basin into the road. So it's a trench drain with an iron grate.
So this was taken after, I'm getting my hurricanes mixed up. Was it Ida, the one that we just had?
The latest and greatest, yeah.
The latest and greatest hurricane. So Crum Creek is right on the other side of Paper Mill Road here. And I'll pull this picture up so you can see how it, okay, so the road loops around here, goes back there, and then the stream is right over here. So Crum Creek floods into the water quality basin, but then even after Crum Creek subsides, this water just sits here. You know, and that creates safety issues. And during the winter, severe icing and that freeze thaw, so it's deteriorating the road as well. I do know Parks and Rec also has problems with like ATVs and Jeeps driving through the basin. So part of the solution to that would be to put up some kind of barrier between the basin and the road to keep those people out of there, like boulders or some kind of safety rail. So the proposed project, I'll pull up this site plan. The proposed project would be to replace the pipe that drains the water quality basin with a larger pipe. And this is, we had Parks and Rec at the Center for Dirt and Gravel Roads out and the State Conservation Commission. And they helped us put together this plan. So they are proposing a larger pipe, access to an access box to a backflow valve so that if it gets clogged or damaged in any way, there's easier access to fix it up. Oh no. Sorry, we got a notification.
Snooze, yeah.
I'm trying.
It's a snooze.
I'm trying. All right.
Oh.
Well, we've got 24 minutes. No, it's not.
Don't know.
Is what I meant by technical difficulties. Okay, so we would keep the existing trench drain, but add riprap probably onto the end of it to keep with the original plans. We would regrade the basin back to its original contours. There is, we received a grant from PACD for their non-point source pollution prevention grant to do plantings in the basin. So that would complement this project, and they would of course be water loving plants. you know, made for water quality basins. Obviously restore the paving from tearing up the pipe. And yeah,
They're gonna put an inlet box with a 4-inch, the pipe is designed now, they just put a little plastic 4-inch EDC pipe through the whole farm to outlet basin. It's an 1.5 acre drainage area, give or take. So they're going to put in an inlet box with this 18 or 15-inch pipe, depending on the cost, and put an outlet weir 4 inches in, so they can control the inflow into that pipe. And then everything else, rather than going through the emergency trench, would go flow through the top of the inlet box as the emergency spillway.
so I think that about covers that project. Any comments or questions about the water quality basin?
No, I don't really have any questions about the projects themselves. I guess maybe this is what we're getting to. Like, how do we decide?
I know. So we have our ranking form. In our policy, it states that if we receive multiple requests, we fill out our ranking form. And that's just about all it says. So the way that I was in another grant review committee and they had similar ranking forms. And the way that we did it was we all ranked it and then had discussions about the project and said, well, you know, even though this project scored higher, maybe this project is put together a little better or is going to have a better impact. So I'm going, Beth, did you fill out the ranking form as well?
I have the ones that you did.
Okay, yes, they're pretty straightforward. I don't think there's too much room to move around. I did struggle with figuring out the drainage areas to the project sites. The only reason that we had the Parks and Rec application, we had that acreage is because we have the original plans. So that was already listed in there. And then I did request that information from Yaden and Nether Providence, but I haven't heard back. And then it took me a little while to figure out number 5, the recreational fishery. But I think I figured it out. And none of the streams have a designated recreational fishery according to the DEP's integrated report.
Mm-hmm.
So I was waiting to get those responses from Yaden and Nether Providence, but I didn't add up the forms yet. So I'm just gonna take a second to do that.
Well, I added them up without including the drainage area.
Oh, okay.
So Nether Providence is 65. If you don't include the score for drainage area, Delaware County Parks is 55, and so is Yaden Borough.
Of course, we have a tie.
So I think that any way you would slice it, Nether Providence would rank higher.
Yes.
Because even if they only got 5 points, they'd be at 70.
Yeah.
It was 65 for Delaware County, and the only way you get a tie here is if Yaden Borough was more than 5 acres, you'd have that at 70. So I mean, I guess that.
Yeah, so I'll share my thoughts because I've been looking at these projects for a couple weeks now. It's hard to choose. They're all good projects. Yaden Borough did a really good job with their project last year that they've completed. And, you know, simply for the fact that they are the only completed project that we've had, you know, that's definitely commendable. However, we are still a new program, and I would love to see different projects be installed and more municipalities and public road owning entities get experience with the program and be able to share it and talk about it throughout Delaware County so that we can kind of distribute funds and projects more evenly. So those are my thoughts. If we had $155,000, I'd say let's fully fund all of them. However, we don't. So, I would love to see, I think the Delaware County Parks and Recreation is going to be an example of the kind of project that we want to see with that water quality basin rehabilitation. It's not focusing solely on stormwater management. There's going to be some kind of naturalization to it. Having a naturalized stormwater feature work properly. And there's, also that road benefit, and similar to Nether Providence Township, they have the bioswale proposed and the rain garden. And they're also getting substantial road benefits there. And we were, like I said, we were able to chat with some of the residents, and they were very supportive of, the fact that we were even out there talking about it. So I'll leave it, those are my thoughts. Obviously, the other thing about the Delaware County Parks and Rec, they would be willing to accept a lesser amount. The estimate that was given was very much ballparked with the recommendation that they asked for a higher amount. So we rounded up to 55,000, and that was a very best guess estimate. So, Parks and Rec could come down on their request. Edinburgh also could come down. Nether Providence, they did come down already from their original request. However, I think they could still come down if they had to, especially with the paving aspect. So I'll leave the discussion open from there.
Well, I'm good with Nether Providence as one. I think that's probably, that has a lowest benefit for environmental benefit, has the infiltration of volume reduction, water quality benefit, and road improvement. And they have higher points. So I don't have any problem with that one whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not voting in this one because I'm the tiebreaker, but the Yaden one, since it's a similar thing, it's like DEP. There's no green element to that. That's what I'm missing for that application. And we did fund one, but that wouldn't be my preference normally without a green part of it. But in the county, when I know how bad that is, so it's unfair for me not to vote on that one.
Yeah, I think those are good points. I think there's lots of good reasons to fund these other two and not Yadenboro. So I don't have a problem with that. Can we just pick them that way? Do they have to be ranked thoroughly and rank higher than that one? Like, do you need that drainage area? Or can we just say?
What would you say about the ranking? That it wasn't even, you're not even held to the ranking?
No, so I have so many papers here. Okay, so in our policy, sorry.
Which is not our policy, it's really the state policy that we copy.
Yeah, well, this is our policy. We used state policy.
Yeah, we didn't modify
Okay,
it.
yeah. So project ranking. In the event that more than one application is received prior to each deadline, eligible applications will be ranked according to the attached grant evaluation form. So that's all that it indicates there.
So, I mean, maybe you do need that drainage area and need to complete the ranking before you can make a decision. I don't know that. It seemed like that isn't what we don't want to make it take longer, but do we have to? I mean, maybe we do.
I don't see anything in the policy that says that we have to follow the ranking.
Right.
It's just an advisory thing on how you make your decisions.
I don't even know if,
You never had this problem in Chester?
No, because they always have more money than applications.
Oh,
well,
We write them, but we fund them all. So
yeah. Um,
I got you. I wasn't even thinking about that.
well,
I sort of think, I think from like the basis of the program, I think it makes sense to select those two. You know, and the difference between the available funds and what their estimates are is only like $5,500. So I feel like that's close enough that you could, you know, work a way to reduce either one or both of those projects by enough to cover them both. So as long as you don't
yeah, that's a good point, Beth, because if we were to fund Nether Providence, oh wait, nope, I'm sorry. I'm getting my projects mixed up. But if we were to do, let me just add it up, Nether Providence and Yaden.
it's another $4,000.
Right. So, you know, if we were to get the most bang for our buck too, Nether Providence and Parks and Rec would be the way to go. So what we could do, I'm thinking, you know, if we don't want to push this off any longer, I also, you know, understand the ranking form and having that drainage area metric to add into that. So I wonder if we were to make a recommendation now, and then we can make a recommendation to our board for our board meeting this afternoon. And then we can still get that drainage area. Would we be able to come back and say, you know, Yaden's drainage area is significantly higher than Delaware County and therefore is resulting in a much higher ranking? We're going to change our decision and come back next month and change that, or that might be even more complicated.
I don't think we need to, but.
Yeah, I don't think ranking is even a requirement in the state program, but I am not 100% sure. I don't know if we're required to have a ranking form.
Can you, once we evaluate them, can we keep them on file, like, and consider them in the next round of funding, or do they have to reapply?
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely do that. And I was gonna suggest that too, is to encourage them to maybe rescope the project or add in some kind of naturalized feature, or even just submit for the next round. The only thing with that is if we do fund Delaware County Parks and Rec and Nether Providence, that's going to use up our available funds until next fall, which is fine. I mean, I don't, you know, that's just how it is.
You only have so much.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see a problem if we have the ability to go ahead and select those two. I think that's fine.
Just put Delaware County down for 49.5.
Yeah, so the difference, if we fund Nether Providence fully, so if we fund Nether Providence fully, we have $49,485.75 left over. So I think Parks and Rec would certainly accept, you know, $5,000 less. And even if that's, you know, there's so many aspects of that project that there's, you know, things we could move around too. And, you know, cut out if we have to, or match.
Or, yeah, find other funding.
Right, yeah. So, all that being said,
We have a motion to recommend funding of Delaware County Parks and Recreation and Nether Providence Township Forestry Project, and the Delaware County's project would be Paper Mill Road, Smithy Park. The amount of money would be for Nether Providence would be $38,900, and Delaware County Parks and Recreation $49,000.
$49,485.75.
Okay. We have that motion.
I would make that motion.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You guys have it. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so I don't know how much time our computer is going to give us.
Yeah.
We have 8 minutes before it restarts. I don't know why it won't let us just snooze it. But anyway, so there is, I have our local policy changes on here. I would like to, while we have the time, just go over them quickly. Did I send those to you, Beth?
I don't know.
I don't know if I did. I don't think I did. Of course I did. All right.
Wait, what's this?
Okay, give me 1 second and I will open them up.
I will tell you that I know that the free version of Teams only lets you have 40-minute meetings, kind of like Zoom does.
Okay,
So if you're using a free version, that might be.
No, this is the Delaware County Courthouse. There must be updating something automatically.
I thought it was weird that you would be using a free version of it.
great timing, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Is that during the actual board meeting?
I hope not.
Yeah, I don't think I have that. I don't think I have policy changes. I have
Okay.
just the applications. I did think I printed everything.
Okay, so I'm gonna I'll open it up real quick. There's only a few things that we changed and it's things that we've talked about before. Okay, I see that I made a change here. I don't know what it is.
Each month, says red.
Yeah, I'm just going to show. Okay, so first Tuesday of each month. So I just added that word in. It's the same meeting schedule as before. One thing that I would like to change is the application deadline. So we can accept applications earlier in the spring and the fall, and that'll give me enough time to review them with the applicants and get more information. And then come the first meeting in April and the first meeting in November, we'll be able to hopefully make a recommendation to our board for those meetings. And that'll help me get together the mini grant program. It'll keep the mini grant program and the low volume road program consistent. So that's why we proposed to change those. And we went over these policies with Justin from the State Conservation Commission.
On the, back up there to the project rank.
Mhm.
Can we require that that form be filled out by the applicant too?
Oh, no. No, we have to fill that out if we're gonna let it guide our decisions.
I know, it'd be nice to get their opinion on what they think they qualify for, then we can debate it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
So maybe we can have them fill it out and use it, we can also fill out our own.
You
Well,
could
that's what I
probably ask for the information that you need to complete it on the application. So like the drainage area and the classification of the fishery and whatnot, you could ask that as part of the application, and then they would be providing you with that information.
Okay, yeah, I can do that whether it's in our policy or not too. I don't think I need to add that into the policy.
I got you.
Because sometimes I might not need to. Okay, so we are, as far as advancing project funds, the default payment schedule is going to be 100% reimbursement. So unless there is a written request for an advance with an explanation for 50% advance, we are no longer going to do that because the coordinating with the meetings and the approvals and the construction start dates was getting confusing. Okay, so I just changed the wording here. Be consistent with that. Okay, so we would also like to request from applicants summaries for their applications, just to help us, like some kind of short narrative describing the road benefit and the environmental benefit of the project. Okay, and we also are shortening the contract timeline. So rather than 18 months from signing the contract to complete their project, they have up to 1 year. And this way, this will help us spend our money because we're finding that some projects are taking a little longer and we're pretty close to our deadline for spending our allocation. So the reason this whole thing is highlighted in red is because I just moved it from down here to up here. So are there any questions about those changes? We have 2 minutes.
No, I think those changes are fine, and I would make a motion that we accept those changes as written.
Okay.
I have a motion to have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Awesome. All right.
Did we do everything we needed to do before the time went up?
Yes. Thank you both for the discussions and the efficiency. And Beth, thank you so much for participating in our meeting.
Sure.
We
I'm
really
not gonna
appreciate it.
be on the board meeting this
Okay.
afternoon. I have another commitment, but I'm happy to do it. So just let me know what you
All
need.
right. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we
All right.
will adjourn.
All right. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Take care, Beth.
Bye-bye.
Take off the recording first.
How do I do that? Okay.
Enlarge it.